Country Club, and an evening of professional boxing. Tonight's program is being promoted by Sands Tiger Eye Limited in association with Peltz Boxing Promotions. It is approved and supervised by the New Jersey State Athletic Commission, the Honorable Larry Hazard, Acting Commissioner. The officials assigned this evening: the physicians in attendance at ringside, Chief Physician Dr. Frank Doggett, and also Dr. Ronald Wood. Timekeeper, Art Spell. Counting for the knockdowns, alternate referee, Randy Newman. Judges, Lawrence Wallace, William Kostrov, and Phil Newman. And the referee in the ring at the present time, Joe Cortez. This contest, 10 rounds of boxing in the welterweight division. Introducing in the red corner, wearing black trunks with white trim. He weighs 148 3/4 pounds, originally from the Dominican Republic, now residing in New York City. Let's welcome Pablo Baez. And his opponent in the blue corner. He's wearing white trunks with red trim. He weighs 147 3/4 pounds. From Ridley Park, Pennsylvania, Mike Picciotti. 10 rounds.
You both were given the rules earlier this afternoon. I want a good, clean fight. You have any questions? Okay, protect yourself at all times. Shake hands.
Well, if ever a fighter needed a crowd behind him for inspiration, Mike Picciotti has it here tonight. This room almost solidly here in his favor against Pablo Baez, who, as Randy mentioned, just about fights anybody they put in front of him. So he is used to top flight competition, and he will have a tough Mike Picciotti in front of him tonight. Picciotti on a string of 5 consecutive knockouts. Going to work early here.
Jim, I wouldn't expect a knockout in the first round. Picchiotti's got only 1 first-round knockout. Baez has never stopped a man in round number 1.
Picchiotti from the blue-collar suburban region outside of Philadelphia, an area known as Ridley Park, and many, many of his followers from that area right here at the Sands Hotel tonight. Baez living in New York City now, but as we pointed out in our opening, a native of the Dominican Republic, the capital city of Santo Domingo.
What could be the difference in this fight is that lily white skin of Picchiotti, which has been cut before, and he bruises very easy, and the left jab of Pablo Baez, which could be the factor in this fight. Mike Picciotti at 5'9½". He gives away 2.5 inches in height to Pablo Baez, and that Randy's reach from the chin down there, jabbing arm to the knuckle, 28.5 for Picciotti, 30.5 for Baez. 2-inch Randy's reach. That's like 2 miles to this guy.
That long right hand of Baez, catching nothing but air here.
Picchiotti has to get close. He's got to get under the jab. He's got to bring an overhand right into play because Baez doesn't have the fastest hands in the world. He can be hit with counter punches very easily.
Picchiotti has a very strong left hook. He'll throw that to the body quite often, particularly early on in a fight. Not afraid to go downstairs. A glancing right hand there. This crowd will react to everything that Picchiotti throws, and those that are blocked will draw a lot of screaming and yelling. We'll try and separate the blocks from the real punches for you.
There's already a redness around the eyes of Mike Picciotti. No swelling, just a redness. But he gets that very early in every one of his fights as soon as those first few jabs land.
He's also a very good fighter when hurt, is Picchiotti. A trademark of his career. When in trouble, he seems to get roused up and fights at his best. Baez with a record of 16-13-2, but that's very, very deceiving. He's been in there against Donald Curry, Thomas Hearns, and a host of other talented fighters. And we look at Marty Feldman attending to Mike Picciotti, along with Ralph Citro and Sam Solomon. And you see Ralph Citro applying a little cold metal to the cheekbone, the left cheekbone of Mike Picciotti.
At no point do you want to be looking at him, okay? Unless if you're looking for it to happen and your hands are up, okay? When you fall in, sit down with the wide right and double hook to the head, okay? Keep your hands up and then steady, ain't nothing. Feint him. Feint him, pump the double. You're cool. Okay? Cool. Take a deep breath. Cool. You're doing a perfect fight.
Managers make it sound so easy, don't they?
You heard the Wolfman tell Picchiotti, sit down with your punches. That means get in close, bend at the knees, get down, and drive that wide right hand to the body. Actually, he should shorten up on the right hand.
A nice double jab, the second one landing flush on the chin of Baez. And there's a good left to the body. The right missed, however.
Jim was back in June 1981, June 25th in Houston, Texas. And Pablo Baez, and I was at ringside for this fight, went against Tommy Hearns for the WBA welterweight championship. The first 2 rounds of that fight were about as good as any you'll ever want to see. Then Tommy Hearns just came on and took it out of Baez, stopped him in the 4th round, went on to fight Sugar Ray Leonard in his next fight. But Baez is a gutsy kid with a tremendous chin. He takes a good rap on the chin. In fact, I think he takes a better rap on the chin than he does to the body.
Another nice left jab by Picchiotti. And there's a left jab that decked Picchiotti. I think he was off balance, Randy. That was not a particularly hard punch, a very unusual knockdown.
I think he was just starting to move away. His ankle turned underneath him. Let's watch. I don't think the ankle's hurt. He's just right. He was caught off balance.
And he takes another left jab. The punch landed flush, no denying that. It was just not a very strong punch, and the combination of the blow and the balance of Picchiotti. Now we've got action as Picchiotti, as I told you, responds when he thinks he's behind.
Here's that head-to-head action we knew would happen. I see blood on the left shoulder of Baez right now. I don't know where it's coming from.
Picchiotti in a slugfest right now, maybe a little early than planned.
Scoring here, Jim, in New Jersey on the round system. And in case of a draw, they use a supplemental 5-point system.
Each fighter scoring with nice jabs. There's a right hand by Picchiotti.
What a shot it was, and it wobbled the knees of Pablo Baez.
Like a cat, he came in over that left jab and scored a very strong right hand. Embarrassed a bit by the knockdown. I think Picchiotti is fired up right now. He missed that time. That punch was blocked. That was not. The left hook scored. certainly got action early on. We thought maybe there'd be a little bit more of a feeling out process here, but once Picchiotti was down as a result of that left jab, he seemed to respond. Look at it, a solid left jab, and Picchiotti surprised by more than anything else, I think.
It really wasn't,
the canvas.
You know, it wasn't much of a knockdown, but when a guy gets hit on the chin and goes down, you got to count it as a knockdown. He just was basically off balance when he got tagged with the punch. What a round it was. This one is heating up. There you see Ralph close the cut Citro leaning over with that end swell device. Slight swelling underneath the left eye of Pick.
And we move along to round 3.
Well, that hard jab of Pablo Baez, if he is to win this fight, it will be because of his left jab setting everything else up. He's got a 2-inch Randy's reach advantage, a pure 2 inches on the jab. If they stand in front of each other, Pablo Baez gets home first by 2 inches.
Body work by Picchiotti, picked off by Baez. Again, we remind you, the heavily partisan Picchiotti crowd will respond to everything.
Pablo Baez at the weigh-in today did something very commendable. After he went to eat and the doctors had to examine these guys, one of his stablemates almost refused to fight, and he convinced them. He said, you get down there in Spanish, and he pointed to downstairs.
Solid right hand by Picchiotti again.
This guy is a fighter all the way. He isn't coming to run in front of this hometown kind of crowd of Picchiotti. He has come to fight Mike Picciotti.
I've never seen him when he hasn't been. A real tough kid, plenty of heart.
It was back in October 1982 when he fought Mauricio Bravo and was robbed in one of the robberies of the year. Mauricio Bravo did not win that fight in my mind. Never will I think that. Bob Baez should have been declared the winner.
Picchiotti trying to really find out how good he is in this welterweight division, although both fighters a couple of pounds above that welter limit. Baez at 149 and Picchiotti at 147.
Nice body shot with the left hand by Picchiotti. And Baez is warned by referee Joe Cortez, watch the holding behind the head. Baez now marked underneath the right eye, a slight swelling. It looks like that tiny cut. Sharp right hand by Baez, bringing it into play, once to the head, once to the body. Very close round.
It is round 3 and counting down.
Today, thousands are getting
middle of the ring, toe-to-toe slugging. Each fighter trying to dig to the body now, but so far the defenses have won out.
Mike Picciotti once again trying to stay close.
Does well there with back-to-back left jab.
Look at that jab, though, of Pablo Baez. Hasn't been scoring much, but when he's throwing it, it's making Picchiotti respect him, and Picchiotti standing on the outside. Now he gets on the inside where he belongs.
That was a good left to the body by Baez. You can tell the experienced fighters know when to dig those body blows in, and Baez exhibiting that experience so far.
Owns a victory over one Horace Shuford back in 1978, a knockout victory. Then he lost to him about 2 years ago. Horace Shuford now the #1 rated welterweight in the world. I mean, this guy has been in with some outstanding fighters.
left by Picchiotti that was low, and those punches are beginning now to creep near the borderline. Both fighters. Good left jab by Picchiotti, followed by a short left hook.
Pablo Baez said between Tommy Hearns and Donald Curry, he called Tommy Hearns a much tougher fighter and harder puncher.
Nice left hook by Baez.
Pablo, who was born and raised in the Dominican Republic, moved to New York City from Los Angeles about a year ago, now trains in the Times Square gym. And
there's a solid left hook.
The reason he's taken that is he's in real good shape. He gets in some tremendous sparring in the Times Square gym.
And a right hand by Picchiotti. And a left and a right, and Baez is stunned now. Picchiotti landing. Baez is hurt. He's going to fall. It's over. It is over.
A brilliant display of power punching on the part of Mike Picciotti. And Pablo Baez is still on the canvas in a neutral corner. Pounded there by the heavy fist of Mike Picciotti.
Round number 4. Mike Picciotti with his 6th consecutive knockout. 4 of those in 1985. Mike Picciotti was inactive in 1983 following a succession of injuries. He has had problems with his hands throughout his career. He also broke a bone under an eye and sat out all of 83. His manager, Marty Feldman, convinced him to come back in 84 and give it another shot. Well, all he's done since then, and it started on July 11th of 84, is knock out everybody they've put in front of him. And the fans yelling, "Pick."
The time, 2 minutes, 50 seconds of the 4th round. The winner by a knockout, Mike Picciotti.
Let's see if we can get the winner over now with Randy Gordon, as well as his manager and trainer, Marty Feldman. All right, let's go up the ringside now. Randy Gordon and the winner, Mike Picciotti.
Well, Mike Picciotti tonight won his 30th professional fight, and never has he looked better. Each time, Mike, you are looking better and better and stronger and stronger.
That's why I'm working hard and hard every time. You know, sparring with good people, good sparring. And, you know, I'm learning every fight, you know, since the comeback. But now I think I'm ready, you know. You dropped in the first round, jab caught me off balance. So I think it woke me up a little bit.
This guy has been in there with several outstanding fighters, Curry and Hearns and Esteban de Jesus. Did his record in there with a lot of those top fighters worry you at all?
Yeah, he worried me. You know, his record's deceiving, but, you know, I know he's a good fighter because he fought the best. But, you know, I went in there, you know, just to work hard. I knew I had to jump on him to try to take his confidence. And that's what I did, you know.
He had the height on you by 2.5 inches. He had that Randy's reach by 2 inches over you. And for a while, he was trying to use it, but you wouldn't let him stay away.
I pumped a double jab. Double jab in case he tried to... I know he's got a hell of a right hand, so I tried to stay away from that.
Okay, Mike, we've got some action from the fight, and there was plenty of it.
Yeah.
And tell us what's going on.
Overhand right hand. And I'm pushing him off. Left hook, right hand. Right uppercut. Left hook, right hand, which didn't get in.
Did you feel he was going to go right there?
Well, I know I had him hurt, you know, but I wanted to watch myself too, you know what I mean? He could come back. But I knew I had him hurt.
You know, in watching him against Tommy Hearns and Curry, we've seen him hurt not too many times. He was in real trouble tonight. You are a deceiving puncher.
Yes. But, you know, my punches are harder than ever, you know, working hard.
Your manager, the Wolfman, Marty Feldman, what is next for this talent?
Yeah, well, I was really proud of Mike. He showed he's ready for the best up there. Because if you recall, nobody dropped Curry or Hearns did not drop Pablo Baez and Vic did.
Okay, well, everybody's happy here tonight at the Sands Copa Room. Thanking everybody around. Never has Mike Picciotti looked better in his 30th victory tonight. Let's go back to ringside and Jim Barniak. Well, after about a 2-year layoff, when he came back in July of '84, he stopped Orlando Montalvo right here in Atlantic City in round 7. And then a few months later, stopped Joe Bradford in the same round, looking a little bit better in that fight than he did in the Montalvo fight. The rust had been coming on.
Picchiotti in the light blue trunks with the dark blue stripe. Maybe you can pick up the words Pick, his nickname, right across the midsection. Charlie Smith is out of Washington, D.C. 3 wins, 3 losses, and a couple of draws. Little left-right combination. The left scored by Smith. Trademark of Picchiotti is such a game guy. You can have him on the ropes, you can bang him around for a couple of rounds, but don't ever take him for granted. He's got a lot of heart. He's won a lot of his fights with late round comebacks.
He's a very patient fighter, and tonight he has plenty of time to do it. This one is scheduled for 10.
Picchiotti, also one of the more popular fighters in the Philadelphia area, always brings a big following here to Atlantic City when he fights. Wife Susan expecting their 4th child at any moment. There's a good left hook.
Jim, but it was in, I think it was February of 1979 that there was a horrendous car accident. I mean, a real twister. In 1979 that Mike Picciotti was involved in. Several friends of his were severely injured. He was also injured severely. His shoulder was ripped up. The doctor said he would never fight again. He was off for close to a year. When he came back, it was with a first-round knockout. So he knows what pain is all about.
Little right hook there by Smith, a bit low. The end of round 1. Picchiotti, originally from Upper Darby, has moved to nearby Ridley Park. And that's Marty Feldman, the Gene King, with his back to you.
There, you sink that wide right. You sink that wide right. Sit down. Come right back with that hook. That's the shot. Left hook.
Tiger Eye, in association with Peltz Boxing Promotions.
It's working. The jab is working. Hey, working right.
Elimination bout.
And the man leaning through the ropes, putting the Vaseline over the face of Picchiotti, Sam Solomon, who has worked with just about everybody from, I think, the days of Cain and Abel.
Sit down with a wide right. Step back with that. Get it?
The voice of the Wolfman, Marty Feldman.
Yeah, I said wide right. Roll the tempo. Use that
On sale now at the box office.
Whatever you get done doing, as soon as you're done, stick it back in.
Junior middleweight scheduled for 10. This bell will signal the start of round 2. Picchiotti looking like he wants to get it going here. There's a good left hook to the body, and Smith answering right back, but Picchiotti landing well to the body. A left and a right so far in this round have got in under the defense there of Smith.
Well, Smith has to be cute. He can't really test the power of Picchiotti, and Pick really can bang. So Smith has to be cute. He has to box and use his defensive skills, bobbing, weaving, the fast jab, in and out.
Picchiotti seems to be a much better fighter when he gets hit. And he just took a good right hand and a good left hook to the right hand to the body, a left hook to the face. 2 punches scored by Smith here.
And you can best believe that Picchiotti felt those shots. You could hear him moan.
Picchiotti with that roundhouse left hook, too wide with it. It almost seems like Picchiotti needs to get spanked a couple of times to get himself going.
Oh, he's going to get spanked tonight because Charlie Smith can bang.
Picchiotti with a left backs Smith off a bit.
The best punch that Smith owns is a left hook to the body. He said he's going to use it over and over on Picchiotti tonight.
Good right hand by Picchiotti as he backs Smith to the corner, and the crowd loves it. But Smith fights right back. A right hand by Smith catches Picchiotti.
A very bad place for Smith to be against the ropes. Unless you're a master counterpuncher and a master defensive fighter, don't go to the ropes.
Left hook by Picchiotti scored. Round number 2.
Nice combination by Picky. Went downstairs with the right hand and brought a left hand right upstairs to the head.
About a half minute left to go here in the second round. These fighters really going at it. Exchanging left hooks.
Smith is a little bit faster, but Pick is taller and has a longer Randy's reach, so it kind of nullifies itself, I think.
Well, there's Charlie Smith, and he has the crowd against him. This is a pro-Picchiotti crowd, but you have to be impressed with the way Charlie Smith dealt with that. He took a couple of shots and responded with a few of his own there.
Right, it's not just on offense that he's impressive. Defense has been looking real good, and he took some hard shots. He had his chin tested thoroughly as he got nailed with some real hard shots in a neutral corner. Legs buckled for a second, but he came back firing his own shots and prevented Picchiotti from landing any more solid blows of his own. Here's some more action from that round, that wild opening round. Both guys jumping on each other.
That's Monday, May the 6th, back here at the Sands. Tickets.
And landing, both were landing. And I think it was the body shots and combination punching that won it for Picchiotti.
This is Charlie Smith coming at you, and Mike Picciotti joining him for round 3. And it starts with a good crisp left jab by Smith. Picciotti appears in fine shape, and he better be, because Charlie Smith, a pretty quick little fighter up there.
Well, both guys claim they have never been on the floor before. That's 40 amateur fights for Charlie Smith when he was 35-5, and 27 fights for Picciotti when he was 20-7.
Picchiotti just missing with that right hand. Does get the left jab across. Ooh, right hand into the body of Smith. You can feel that where I'm sitting.
Oh, you're seeing some real fine body punching on the part of both fighters.
Seems so conscious of stopping that hook that he is vulnerable to a good crisp right uppercut to the body. There's a right to the head and a left by Picchiotti.
Well, in the first round, neither guy took the time to feel each other out. They jumped on each other. And this round, the pace has even picked up from that.
I don't think Mike Picciotti has ever had an easy fight. He is a brawler. He thrives on it.
So Charlie Smith make the mistake of pulling away with his right hand down. When you pull away, either keep your hands high or come out throwing punches. Get in with a jab, get out with a jab.
Coming up on the end of round 3. The left by Picchiotti lands. Just after the bell ending round 3, Charlie Smith threw a little left hook the way of Mike Picciotti, and that has riled up the Picchiotti fans here, which are numerous. Coming to you from the Sands Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City.
Well, there's no question in my mind that this one is definitely going to come down to the eye of the tiger. Who wants it more? I mean, we are still very early. This one's scheduled for 10 rounds, but these guys are putting hurt on each other.
Picchiotti now a little bit more flat-footed here, and he takes a right hand by Smith.
And his defense isn't quite as good as Smith, so what he's got to do is not try that cute stuff by bobbing and weaving. He's got to come in and throw punches.
He did right there, a left-right, and I think Smith is hurt. Smith took a good, solid left-right combination, had to hurt him.
But look how tough Smith is, just hanging in there, clinching, trying to clear his head, firing right hands in close, backing up, and using that fast piston jab of his.
Little left sneaks in there, glancing right hand by Picchiotti.
In Charlie Smith's last fight, it was November 30th, 1984. He was stopped in the second round by the man who won a silver medal in the 1984 Olympics as a junior middleweight, Sean O'Sullivan.
The best punch there by Picchiotti was a left to the midsection. Caught Smith flush.
Sean, of course, lost in the finals of those games to America's Frank Tate, who's now 7-0 as a professional.
Picchiotti has a fight with Mark Breland in the works.
That will be an interesting fight. Breland 3-0, hasn't knocked anybody out, and I don't think he'll be able to knock Picchiotti out. But if Picchiotti wants to beat the likes of a Mark Breland, he's going to have to put on tremendous pressure, because Mark at 6'2" will just dance and use that fine boxing skill of his all night long.
Fourth round. Smith takes a left jab. He's in his own corner. Takes a right to the chin, and there's the bell.
Let's look good. All right, look.
Picchiotti with a couple of strong blows to end that round. We listen now as Marty Feldman talks to his fighter. Here's the action from round 4.
Well, early in the round, Picchiotti got off to a real good start by rocking Smith, who then got on his bike and started to use some real fine boxing skills. A short left hook and a right hand wobbled him for a second, and Charlie Smith came back fighting. And then it was Charlie Smith back to the ropes, takes this left hook right on the nose, and just keeps on fighting.
You got to punch on him. Stick to the body, okay?
Getting set for round 5 here. As we mentioned, Mike Picciotti sat out all of '83, had just 2 fights in '84, and this is his first fight this year, and he's taken on a pretty tough cookie. Charlie Smith, more than just an opponent. Mike Picciotti trying to end it here.
It was about 1 year ago when Charlie Smith lost to Steve Little. The same Steve Little you saw lose in a very tough match to Mark Breland not long ago. A little too much posing going on the part of both fighters, but Picchiotti was trying to time that right hand, and he did it perfectly.
Charlie Smith had to be affected by that. That was a clean shot. Smith comes right back, though, with a good solid right to the body. Picchiotti's corner wants him to swarm all over his opponent. Go to work here.
Well, Picchiotti told me before this fight, he said, I know you saw my last 2 fights, which were 7th round knockouts. I looked a bit rusty and not so sharp. He said, I really feel it. I feel that sharpness is going to be off tonight. And you saw those right hands. He's right on target with it.
Good solid right hand by Picchiotti. Got in over that left, and that left may be dropping down a little bit. The left hand of Charlie Smith. Notice now he's carrying it a little low.
Oh, they should be dropping. He is getting hit with some very hard body shots. They make you drop your hands.
Smith trying to left hook his way out of trouble, but that left hand is starting to fall. Picchiotti going over the top of it here.
Defense on the part of Charlie Smith this round, as he is starting to get hurt by Mike Picciotti, especially with those right hands.
Are those body punches taking their toll now? Is Smith slowing down a bit? Picchiotti stalking away here. Final seconds. Nick, as you see, just on the corner of the left eye of Charlie Smith. Time of the NBA playoffs beginning next week.
He hit you back enough. Hey, Charlie,
the corner now of Charlie Smith at work, and little nicks over both eyes.
And I do think
Charlie Smith.
I do think that word is little. There's not much there.
Round 6. And that was a tough round for Smith. He got hit with a couple of hard right hands and didn't throw much back.
Those are tiny little nicks. We'll watch them, see if those right hands that Picchiotti has been landing will open him up any further. But look at those body shots by Picchiotti. Those are the punches that are doing most of the damage.
This has been an action-packed fight.
Smith is definitely hurt from those body shots because he's keeping his hands way down, and he is open to be hit with flush shots to the head now. Well, he is ready to go at any time.
He got hit with a good left hook that set him back, and the thing we're noticing now is he's not answering back nearly as much as he was earlier in the fight.
Picchiotti looks like he's ready to walk through Charlie Smith's shots. Smith is so game, though, willing to stand right in there and mix it up. He can't do that, though. If he has any legs underneath him, he's got to get away and jab, move, and throw combinations. see those shots that he's hitting Picchiotti with, especially with the right hand, are not moving Picchiotti at all.
Another left hook by Picchiotti. Each punch now thrown by Picchiotti starting to take its toll.
That's because he's landing them flush. He just got hit flush. Nothing happened to him at all. That's because there's nothing on the punches of Smith at all.
Smith hasn't thrown a serious punch yet in this round. Just kind of flailing both hands out there.
Smith wobbling with those shots. He can no longer protect his head because his arms are just so heavy. He's got to protect the body. He's aching so much down there, and he is getting plastered. But now he's coming right back.
Picchiotti, the one taking a little rest here. And Smith trying to land. But a right hand by Picchiotti.
Picchiotti just waiting for Smith to throw the shots, and I think he's looking for one punch that'll end this fight.
This is a typical Mike Picciotti fight. He's the kind of guy that gets stronger as the fight goes on.
No, that punch was blocked entirely on the right arm of Charlie Smith.
We're getting set here for round 7. Or are we?
No, the doctor has taken a look at those cuts and the pounding that Charlie Smith has been taking, and they have decided that this fight should end now.
Well, the attending physicians looked at Charlie Smith, and it appeared to me that the cuts were not all that serious.
Well, the one on his left eye looks like it has really ripped open. Cut man Chris Klein has done a real good job closing that cut. It's a nice slice on the eyebrow. Yes, it is a deep one. Chris Klein did a great job on the cut. He masked it from us. And Chris is behind me saying it's not deep, believe me. He didn't think it should be stopped, but it looks nasty. He should be given a lot of credit for closing that cut. He did a magnificent job. He hit it from those television cameras.
So at the end of round 6, via the technical knockout route, the winner, Mike Picciotti, he extends his record now to 27, 2, and 3 draws. Let's go up to hear the official verdict from Ed Darian.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the advice of Chief Physician Dr. Frank B. Doggett, referee Tony Orlando stops this bout at the end of the 6th round, and a winner by a TKO, Mike Picciotti. Picciotti.
The season here tonight in anticipation of a dandy fight. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Barniak along with ring analyst Randy Gordon, and Randy, we've got the much awaited main event debut of Mike Picciotti tonight, going up against Kevin Rooney, who has been there with 2 world champions.
Of his 3 losses, 2 of them have come to world champions. One, Davey Moore, the other, the great Alexis Aguayo. Both stopped him, but that's just about it. This kid is always in great shape. That's his big thing. Mike Picciotti, he must love Atlantic City, because as he looks for his 28th consecutive victory now, 3 in a row now, he's won in round number 7, the big number here in Atlantic City. He's going to look for 3 in a row now, 4 in a row make it in round number 7, going up, looking for that number 28. Both guys are solid punches. This should be an action fight. Neither guy's going to look for any place to hide.
Johnny Carter also coming your way tonight against Filipino Arnel Aranzal. That's a bantamweight fight. That too should be a fine fight. Once again, Kevin Rooney coming up against Mike Picciotti. Mike Picciotti from Ridley Township, Pennsylvania, a very popular fighter, a guy who's brought a lot of fans here tonight. Here's Mike Picciotti. Meets Marty Feldman, the local blue jean.
Township, over a friend of mine's house, Joe Sloan, he started me in boxing. We used to box in his backyard. You know, he used to cut the size of the ring out, you know, in the grass, let the grass grow and then cut the size of the ring out, and we used to box in that. And then he took us up Upper Darby Gym, and that's where Marty see me. He see me boxing, me and my other friend, Mickey Duflo. He's seen us two boxing, and he said he wanted to train us. So.
It came easy for the fighter, who approached each bout as though it were a night on the town. He brawled his way to victory in most instances, often rallying from way behind to win. The classic was against Johnny Cooper in November of 1981, when the referee stopped the fight on cuts and awarded Cooper the win. The New Jersey Athletic Commission overruled, however, and the fight went on, and Picchiotti scored a victory. A rematch with Cooper was in demand, and this time the outcome was damaging for Picchiotti. He suffered broken facial bones, lost the decision, and also his desire to fight.
He fought Johnny Cooper, and he wasn't in the best frame of mind for this fight. And unfortunately, he also got his, right below his eye, the bone broken, which gave him a numbness and a tingling sensation and a lot of pain. And after that fight, naturally, it took about 6 to 8 months recuperative time. And in the process, Michael had a courtship going with a young lady, and he had to work, nevertheless, to provide for himself and his future wife, and he had to dedicate most of his time to work, and he couldn't get really back into the groove. And about 6 months ago, Michael called me, and we realized together that if he really perseveres and dedicates himself, he could fight the top fighters in the world and make enough money to finance his family.
A year passed without a fight, and Mike Picciotti found his interest turning to family life. Just recently, his wife Sue gave birth to the couple's 4th child. And so, at the age of 28, Picchiotti was awakened to the fact that if he wanted to be the provider he was best capable of being, he was going to have to get back into the ring. And, as his recent bouts have attested, he has done so with an all-new dedication.
Like running, I used to hate running. You know, Marty used to have to drag me out of bed. You know, but now I run, it's, you know, I like it. I like keeping myself in shape now.
What do you suppose happened?
I don't know, maybe the family life, I don't know.
Here's Ed Darian now with the introductions.
From the famous Copa Room of the sensational Sands Hotel and Casino, here in the boxing capital of the world of Atlantic City, New Jersey, Sands Tiger Eye Limited, in association with Peltz Boxing Promotions, proudly presents this evening's big professional boxing card, which is approved and sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Commission, the Honorable Robert W. Lee, Acting Commissioner, Nick D. Balistreri, Assistant Commissioner. The physicians in attendance at ringside this evening, Chief Physician Dr. Frank B. Doggett and Dr. Stanley P. Rogers. The judges, Rocky Castellani, Richard F. Murray, and Eva Shane. Counting for the knockdown seconds, alternate referee Joel Cortez. The timekeeper to bell is Lindsay Tucker. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of this scheduled 10-round junior middleweight bout, referee Joe O'Neill. And now, boxing fans, introducing the principals. First, in the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with the white and blue trim. He weighed in at an even 151 pounds. This gentleman is a native of Staten Island, New York, and now residing in the Catskill, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Kevin Rooney. Rooney. And his opponent in the red corner, wearing the white trunks with the red trim. He weighed in at an even 150 pounds. This young man hails from Ridley Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Boxing fans, here is Mike Picciotti. Picciotti.
Gentlemen, there's a 3 knockdown rule at my discretion. There's a mandatory 8 count, there's a standing 8 count. All right? The bell only saves you in the last round. They come to see you fight, not me referee. I expect you to act like professionals. Any questions? Shake hands now. Good luck. Come out boxing.
There you see the matchup, the tail of the tape here tonight. And as you could gather, a big following here from Ridley Township, just outside of Philadelphia. Cheering on Mike Picciotti in the white trunks as we begin round one. The experienced Kevin Rooney in red.
I just know this is going to be an explosive crowd tonight because both guys have brought many fans with them.
And we can expect some action too. These two fighters, if four prevails, will be right within striking range of one another as the fight unfolds. There's a nice little short right hand that gets in on Picciotti here in the first round. Both fighters have had trouble with cuts throughout their career, so we will be watching very closely that aspect.
Both eyes, especially the left eye of Kevin Rooney, very susceptible to cuts, and on the right side of his right eye, he's also taken several stitches over there. Let's watch that as that jab of Picciotti lands.
Picciotti, you saw in our feature, has come back from a number of injuries. He's had broken hands, and he's had some minor broken facial bones. A right hand by Picciotti backs off Kevin Rooney.
Rooney was a little bit disgusted with himself. He got hit with a good, solid right hand on the chin, and it didn't really hurt him that much, but he stepped back and he kind of frowned. He knew that it was a mistake. His left hand should have been higher.
Picciotti has 13 knockouts to his credit, 27-2 with 3 draws, his overall record. Kevin Rooney, 21-3 with 1 draw. Less of a knockout factor. He's had 7 KOs, but as Randy pointed out, he's been in there against some of the very best, including maybe one of the best ever, Alexis Arguello. A minute left in the opening round. And a nice left hook by Rooney after Picciotti missed with a left-right combination.
Both showing a lot of respect for the other man. Rooney trying to jab to the belly to bring Picchiotti's hands down. Right now, Picciotti just trying to see what Kevin Rooney has. That's why he's laying back so much.
Mike Picciotti, trained and managed by Marty Feldman with his back to you. Sam Solomon on the left, leaning in, the corner man. Picciotti has been a professional fighter since 1976. Had it all going earlier in his career and lost a tough fight, as you saw in our feature, to Johnny Cooper the second time around. The injury kind of disheartened him for a while.
That jab working and be cool, just like you.
But he has come back.
Dig it. Faint.
The fact that he's married now and with 4 children has certainly become an inspiration to him as a fighter.
You hit him with 2 or 3.
And also a provider.
Win this time, right here.
And Kevin Rooney across the way, also married with children. A native of Catskill, New York, an area very popular in boxing circles, home to Floyd Patterson as well as Floyd's former trainer, or manager rather, Customato. And Rooney, very close friends with both of those individuals. In fact, Randy, I believe Kevin Rooney has already started as a trainer himself, even though he is still active as a fighter.
And what a youngster he's working with. He's working with a heavyweight by the name of Mike Tyson, who's already 3-0. The man tried out for the Olympics, lost to Henry Tillman, but then in the World Games in November, took it all, and that's with the Russians and Cubans fighting. So right now, while Kevin Rooney's making his living as a fighter, one day he just might be the trainer of the world heavyweight champion. Because I do think this Tyson is going to be a champ one day.
And Tyson in the audience looking on and cheering on his friend.
And Kevin Rooney managed. You can't have three better managers than this. Bill Caton, Jimmy Jacobs, and Cus D'Amato. Jacobs and Caton, of course, the fight film moguls, own just about every fight film you can own.
Little left hook inside by Rooney. Caught Picchiotti coming in, landed on the nose. Half-hearted punch, but it scored. Picchiotti normally a fast finisher. A guy who gets stronger as the fight goes on, and also a fighter who has frequently fought his best fights when in a little trouble.
Picchiotti at 5'9½" owns a 2.5-inch height advantage over Kevin Rooney, and he owns a 1.5-inch Randy's reach advantage, 28.5 to 27. He's got to use that 1.5-inch Randy's reach advantage. He's trying to. He's standing outside, and Kevin Rooney simply must get close.
Left to the body by Picchiotti, a good one. You can usually tell when Rooney has taken a good punch, he kind of frowns.
Well, it's not that it hurts him, because he's in great shape. He frowns because he knows it was a mistake on his part, a defensive lapse, a shot maybe he shouldn't have gotten hit with. There was a nice defensive move by Kevin Rooney. He ducked under and stepped to the side, except he couldn't follow through with a punch.
30 seconds remaining here in the second round.
Nice chopping right hand by Kevin Rooney.
And a good left hook by Rooney. Got in under the elbows of Picchiotti. You're looking at a close-up of Kevin Rooney. 21-3-1 with 7 KOs.
Okay.
And here's Mike Picciotti getting set for round 3.
Picchiotti is trying to get his jab on track, but as he does, Kevin Rooney comes back and he steps into his own jab, which makes that shorter jab of his look a little bit longer.
Picchiotti, a popular fighter here in Atlantic City. He sells tickets. Brings a big neighborhood following down. And one of the biggest tonight.
Very nice jab by Picchiotti. Very, very hard jab.
And he takes one right back. A double left here by Kevin Rooney. The second one deflected a bit.
Kevin Rooney throws such beautiful short punches. They're all out of the textbook, but hey, he's been trained by the master, Cus D'Amato.
Left jab by Picchiotti. Think we'll see a little of that Floyd Patterson peekaboo?
You're seeing it right now, how he's carrying those hands right up in front of his face. And sometimes you even see an occasional leaping Floyd Patterson left hook.
Lead right hand by Picchiotti, and that scored. That one was blocked, though, the second one. Left to the body.
Very nice body shot by Picchiotti. He thinks he's got Rooney hurt, so he's aiming more of those left hooks at the body.
Picchiotti will tell you that the biggest problem he has had in the ring is total dedication. And then once he gets into the ring and has a fight in front of him, he tends to lapse off and doesn't get as busy as he might ought to be. But a lot of natural ability.
Notice when they get in close, and whenever Picchiotti bends down, Rooney keeps him down with his elbow and then steps out of there. He's worried about Picchiotti coming up. He's worried about headbutts. And he should be. Because against Davey Moore a few years ago, Kevin Rooney was leading on the scorecards in June 1981. He got butted, and in the 7th round, they stopped the fight. Davey Moore went on to win the World Junior Middleweight Championship.
Nice right to the body by Picchiotti. Kevin Rooney represents by far the toughest challenge that Picchiotti has had in terms of a fighter who has been in there against some real quality opponents.
Rooney has to close that gap. There's too much room between him and Pick. Pick can pick him apart with that longer jab.